We are going to be talking about continuation of yesterday's conversation of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And that's the name of the workshop. So, we kept talking yesterday about advocacy, policy frameworks, implementation. Yeah? So for us as Safaricom, the journey to complete inclusion has many pit stops. Okay? It has many pit stops. So first, you must make it known. Okay? Because people are at different levels of their inclusion journey. So you must actually make that entire journey known. You must tell people what the picture of success looks like so that there is no ambiguity. When you're saying that there is no inclusion in that company, there is exclusion. So that people do not confuse. People are very clear in their heads exactly what you mean. So you must make known what you mean by inclusion. Okay? And other terminologies thereof. You must make it clear. Don't get tired. People in this room, you are the ambassadors of inclusion. So usiseme nilifunza watu jana na leo hawashiki. Yeah? We have to continue talking about it in order for us to actually get to where we want to be as an organization and as a company. Okay? And as of course, and as a nation. We must make it real. So when we talk about inclusion, what exactly are we saying? Give people realistic goals. Yesterday we had people saying, let's be realistic. Yeah? Start where we are. There are some things that are beyond us. So do what you can do as an individual, as an organization. So make it real for people in your organization. Don't start telling them to go and change policies in government. Begin by asking them to do small atomic actions that they can do at the workplace in order to create an inclusive environment. Once you do that, it sticks in their heads because you've given them real examples. Okay? It does what? It sticks. And then people are now ready to implement. So we say, you make it happen. So there is no way, if there is ambiguity along the way, you'll be able to reach your destination. Tutaimba, tuimbe, and we'll still have exclusion everywhere. So let's talk about diversity. Remember we said you have to keep repeating until you can sing it. When you look at the tree right there, what do you see? I want it to be an engagement, interactive. What do you see? What comes to mind? Color. Different aspects of diversity. A tree. What about the tree? Well rooted. See?
I'm seeing the roots. I'm seeing the branches and the roots.
Absolutely. So you see, we all, when we look at something, we see different things. Now, this is your diversity makeup. These are just a few of the dimensions of difference that make you as an individual. And the analogy of the tree actually depicts that there are some dimensions of difference that are hidden from the naked eye. Depending on who is looking at the tree. Okay? So there are some, for example, there are some disabilities that are invisible, right? There are some dimensions of difference that are invisible to you until you actually engage with a person. Are you able to know my life experiences? No. By just looking at me? No. But through engaging, through engagement, through conversations, you'll be able now to say, oh, I know Blaze. I know what she's going through. Yeah? So, things like value systems. If you don't engage with someone, you cannot say someone has this and that in terms of their value system by just looking at them. So some of these dimensions of difference call about engaging with a person, getting to know a person deeper and deeper. And the more you get to know about a person, the more dimensions of difference you uncover. There are as many dimensions of difference as there are people in the world. Ili ni kionjo. These are just the general ones. Yeah? So, in terms of talent, you'll be told how to actually see how you know where you fall, what job to go to. So those are some of the dimensions of difference. So all this is a fact. I didn't choose to be born a girl, a lady. It's a fact. It's a fact that we are different all in this room. You didn't choose. Christine didn't choose to have me as her neighbor. It has so happened. Sindio? Yeah? So we are all different. So that's why we say diversity is a fact. So we go into just defining two of the very confusing terminologies that people keep interchanging. Okay? Equality and equity. What can you see? Because this is our reality. Sorry, just speak up so we can hear.
Okay, this side, we are being very individualistic. So, we don't care for the other person, we can't see. And on the right hand side, there's taking care and just make sure that all of them are working together and review for the other two.
Okay. Thank you. Remember, there are no wrong answers. It's what you see. Yes, and you're right.
I want to comment on the side of equity.
Yeah.
They have not only made it a level field for all of them to be able to observe what they are observing, but they have gone ahead to make reasonable accommodation for the person or the group.
Super. So those two terminologies should never be interchanged by someone in this room. Tafadhali. Equality is about blankets. Patiana, blanket interventions. Za kila mtu. Regardless of what people actually need to succeed. So equity means treating people on the basis of what they need to succeed. Awesome. Yeah? So that is equity. When you look at that picture, you will see the boy is being given a crate, the girl is being given a crate, and the old lady has been given a crate. They are both trying to watch a match, and there is a fence. You can see there is a a fence just before them. The boy is actually way ahead of the fence, so can comfortably see. The girl is barely seeing because her eyes actually are the same level as the fence. And the lady there, of course, cannot even utilize whatever she's been given because of that blanket assumption. Okay? Sasa yeye amekaa tu hapo asikize story. So equity is about looking at the interventions that each and every person needs to succeed. Yeah? So the boy didn't need a crate at all. He's tall enough. The girl needed 2 crates in order for her to be able to watch the match comfortably. The lady needed a completely different intervention. She needed a ramp. Now, the picture below shows the removal of barriers. When you remove that barrier, not the fence, the barrier, what happens? Huh? So you can see everyone actually did not need remove the barrier. Kila mtu are able to sit and watch the match. This is what freedom is all about. So, in a nutshell, diversity are the differences of dimensions that we present. Equity is about just and fairness. Inclusion is about bringing people in, creating that environment. And belonging is a magical word. I don't know whether you have ever gone somewhere and you felt you don't belong. Umekuwa invited ndio, lakini ukifika kule kila watu wako into small groups Ukienda hapa watu wanazunguka, you're in the room. But people are having their own small conversations. And the conversations are having look like they are private. Na wewe, you're in the room. Unaangalia, do I know anybody? You are in the room. But do you belong? No. So, belonging, as James said yesterday, I think it was James or Seth, is the third level of Maslow's theory. And it is very, very important. It is actually building that connection that gives you that feeling that comes from your gut and oozes to your heart. Now, unasikia hapa, I belong, and I want even to stay with. So, these are just basically, we say we are going to repeat until we are very, very clear about that. So the presence of differences is what diversity is. Equity is about providing support, based on specific needs. Inclusion is the creation of that environment, bringing people in. And belonging is one's perception of acceptance. So let me just start, because we are talking about Safaricom today, and this is just a bit about Safaricom, because it's not possible to talk about what we have done in an hour. So I'll just try and give you top 3, how many bottom 3, whichever. Top 3. So I'll just start by looking at who we are as Safaricom. Our ambition is to be a purpose-led technology company by 2025. That's our ambition. I know you'll be asking, Fanny, what are you now? We are a telco. We are on transition. We want to be able to provide everything. Technology solutions. Naona kama M-Pesa, vitu kama hizo. Every solution that you need to digital. Okay? Our purpose is to transform lives on all our touch points. Wherever you go, in our short footprint, whether you engage with our staff, you come to our offices, community-based projects, we want to transform lives. Our brand promise, I know a lot of us resonate with Twaweza. Remember? Yeah? And people keep asking, mbona mulibadilisha hiyo? It's language. Language keeps evolving. Yeah? Language keeps evolving. It's not that Twaweza was bad, but we felt we needed to now individualize our brand promise for you. And that's why we say simple in how we reach you, transparent in how we deliver our products and services, and honest in what we say. And all this is underpinned by our culture. Remember, we are talking about spirit of Safaricom. Our culture has 4 elements of purpose. And that's why we say purpose, we put purpose and people before profits. That's our mantra and our language as well. Customer obsession. Without a customer, we will not exist, we will not thrive as a company. Yeah? And that's why we say we have to leverage on customer obsession. Anything that makes the customer happy, we are there. So we are customer obsessed. Innovation. You've seen our products and services, we continue to innovate every day. Like someone said yesterday, was it Angie? Inclusion or die. That is where we are. You innovate or die. You have to keep on innovating. Products and services, processes, whatever it is, we have to keep innovating to stay in line with customer, actually to stay ahead of customer aspirations, desires. We have to actually anticipate what will Christine, what will Minor be needing tomorrow? And then we innovate that product, that service to it. And we have to do that not by ourselves, yeah? But collaborating with all of you. You are part of this journey. You don't sit somewhere on a pedestal and decide this is the product we are going to unleash. We actually involve focus groups, customers like you, and look at various trends. And together we come and prioritize what we need to do for you. So collaboration is very, very key for us. This is just a point to stress what we normally do, and the purpose, and the customer obsession, and the collaboration, and the innovation. So let's now go into the diversity and inclusion agenda for Safaricom. Yeah. So we saw the tree has very many dimensions, but for us, we focus on 2 dimensions. Not to say that we don't care about the rest, but these are the 2 dimensions that we track and report on a global platform annually. And of course, in between, monthly, quarterly, yeah? Biannually, we actually track these 2 dimensions. In terms of gender, we have no problem with the general composition of gender in terms of the overall population. We are 50-50. We've always maintained that. But in terms of management, and in most organizations, this is a challenge. As you go up, females funnel out, and you have more men staying at the top. Yeah? So for us, that is a point of concern, to lift women up, to empower women so that they are par, yeah, with the men. And therefore, we have a target because we believe what gets measured gets what? Gets done. So we've given ourselves a target of 40% by end of this FY. Our FY begins in April and ends in March next year. April. Yes, that's our financial year. We don't do January to December. Our financial year ends in March. So we begin our new financial year in April. So this financial year, our target is 40%, and this target, we all have it as leaders.
And we talk of 40%. This is 40% for
40% for leadership, because that's where we have a problem. Okay?
particularly for women.
Yeah, so leadership for us is the senior managers, the heads of department, and the executive team. Yeah. So that is what we call leadership.
Manager
Yeah.
is not included from senior manager upward.
Yes, that is what it is. Yeah. So our target, and my boss is here, Peter. He has the same target as I do. The boss at the top has the same target. So it's a target that is cascaded down. Not for me alone, not for Peter alone, but yes. So that for every leader, that is a target we have to carry. So as Peter comes for my neck, and someone else will be going for his neck, if we don't achieve that target. Yeah? So this is an ambitious target, especially now that you know that there is a lot of movement in terms of, talent. But we see that what gets measured gets done. So the effort is what counts. Yeah? Yeah? So you must, if you don't put that target down, as an organization, we will just have the blame game. Nobody will own up. This is accountability. And we report this on our financial accounts and on our sustainability reports.
Now, the strategies.
Yeah, I'll get there. Okay? Now, disability, we say the minimum is 5%. Okay? Not to mean that if you got 5%, you're happy. No. When we get to 5%, we'll continue accelerating. But for now, 2025, we have 5%, and this financial year, we have 4%. Very ambitious target. Currently, we have 174 staff with various disabilities. Yes, 174. Yeah?
From the total population.
Yeah? We are 5,000 plus. Okay? So, we say we are about 3.1 thereabout. You know, we have other people like interns and all that. So we are tracking that number very, very closely. Yeah? And every day we keep reporting so that we can see the movement of talent. And we have to do this through saying we have zero tolerance to discrimination. Because once you begin to discriminate persons with disabilities, to discriminate their gender for women, you will never achieve. And any other form of dimension. I'm just mentioning those two because they are key for us now. But in terms of our shop footprint, you know, we have a countrywide footprint in terms of presence. We ensure that even we have a balance in terms of ethnicity, but we don't report that because it's a non-issue for us because we are moved. Yes, it's already there. So it's not a point of concern. But we only make sure that our people in Turkana, there are some people there who can speak the native language because of the communities around them. So we are very, very cognizant of that fact. So, of course, this is, and the foundation is the spirit of society. So, this is our storyboard, and I'll just go very quickly. Up there, there is something where you see the dots. I think it hasn't projected right. We have our charter, our policy, yeah, that is just below the tagline. Our tagline as diversity and inclusion is embrace my world. Sorry. You just see so that you can see properly. So, under, it's the color is saying. So under disability storyboard, we have Embrace My World. Yeah? And this is a rallying call we do and we say it all the time. Yeah? Embrace my world. Because I'm different from you. So tafadhali, don't judge me. Just embrace my world. And that is supported by our policy being the face of Kenya. Yeah? When you have different people coming into the organization, people who have different genders, different abilities, different thinking perspectives, then that is the value you bring into the organization. Yeah? So we don't bring in people who are fit for the company, so to speak. You know, sometimes you hear people saying, that person was not a fit for this company. If you bring in a fit for this company, you will end up having people who are the same. So you must bring in people who are bringing a different, different value than even what you have, as long as it's positive. Yeah? You need people who can come in and challenge you. But if you have people who are the same, who are homogeneous, you cannot even innovate. And this is why we say we are, one of our strong pillars is reflective of the communities we serve. And what that has done, it has actually fueled our innovation. Because when you bring people from all corners of Kenya, they come and articulate the needs of their communities. Yeah? And when they do, we give them that task of saying, so what can we do for your community? So we have foundation projects, yeah, where we tell people, do something for your community. And the company pays, pay like a 10%, and the company pays actually 90%. for you to uplift your community. It's called a Pamoja project. You read Pamoja. Okay? And likewise, this fuels our innovation space. Because you come and articulate the needs of your community, they need this, they need that, and we go into innovating products and services for that community as well. So, very important pillar. The second one is inclusive environment. This is about ensuring that you are inclusive, yeah, in all that you do, in all that you say. And we say it's a journey. Tulisema hakuna kufika, si ndio? Every time we actually on board different people, we realize we are not yet there. Because someone comes and asks for this, we are like, okay, we didn't think about that, but now we are going to be inclusive. Because if you talk about, for example, let me use a typical example of disability. Yeah? You cannot possibly anticipate all accommodations for all persons with disabilities. Yeah? You have someone who has dyslexia, you have someone who has autism. And even with autism, there is the spectrum. So all those people need different adjustments. Yeah? When we talk about people who are physically challenged, yeah, they have a physical disability, even that has many categories. Yeah? You have those ones who use crutches, you have the wheelchair, you have persons of short stature. So all those people need different adjustments. Yeah. So that's why we say it's a journey. Every time you keep improving. And this is about physical and digital inclusion. A lot of time people forget about digital inclusion and only think about physical. You think about the ramps, ile nje. Okay? But you even forget, even that ramp, inside the building, there is somewhere you need. For a person with disability to move perhaps from where he is to see his boss. If the floor levels are. So ramps are not just external. They can also be internal. Okay? And I'll speak about that when we come to talking about what we have done in terms of accommodation. And then we have economic empowerment, giving everybody an opportunity to work at Safaricom, yeah, empowering you. So that's the second pillar. So in terms of disability, we have a disability charter for change. I think that is one guiding charter that guides what we do. This is a charter we signed in London in 2018 during the first ever disability summit, and we committed to 3 things: elimination of stigma and discrimination, because that's where it starts. Yeah? And then economic empowerment, and then facilitation of affordability and accessibility of assistive devices. So we committed to those 3 things. And when we exhaust them, or fairly exhaust them, we will pick other commitments. But for now, those are the 3 commitments we feel that we are still chewing. Assistive devices for our different persons with disability, for our different demographics of the people we have. Yeah? So we are talking about big screens, we are talking about the software like JAWS for the blind. You know, we are talking about so many inclusive devices and assistive devices. Yeah. So The other thing that really strengthens us is our strategic associations and partnerships. We are, I'll just mention a few. In 2019, we began a forum called the Global Disability Forum, and this is a forum that brings in different groups of people together in one room every quarter to unpack matters disability. Yeah. Because we realized, even in as much as we may look that we are ahead, we want to travel with everyone else. And we are all interlinked, okay? We were talking here about yesterday, about interventions on one end of the pipeline. Eh? We have to look at the education system. So we have academia as part of our ecosystem. We have policymakers as part of our ecosystem. We have people who are in communication, media, who report and tell the stories. Yeah? So we have different people, and we have 5 pillars that speak to that. So we meet every quarter. We have private sector, we have public sector, we have individuals who come together to just help, cross-pollinate, so to speak, one another and find out how can we remove barriers to inclusion. Si tulisema hakuna maneno ya kusema serikali saidia saa yote. There are some things we can do by ourselves. By coming together, we are a force for good. Yeah. Then we, in December last year, we were appointed the chair of the Kenya Business Disability Network. This is an ILO affiliated body, and is hosted by FKE, and we are the chair. And what it does, it brings together corporates. And I'm happy to even announce that last month, we onboarded like 6 companies, the likes of Unga, the likes of L'Oreal, the likes of Barclays, KCB, into the Kenya Business Disability Network. We are members of the Valuable 500 Club. This is a global initiative that looks at making sure that the disability agenda is at the boardroom level. Because without the boardroom, you will not get the resources you need to support the agenda. Yeah? So we are the first ones in Kenya and 4th in Africa to belong to the Valuable 500 Club. We are part of the BE team. You can see the grants on there. And our boss began a BE team Kenya chapter. Yeah? This is also another very, very powerful organization and initiatives that looks about encouraging corporates to have practices that are human-centric. Week. I don't even know how it went. Some of us were trying to be a fly on the wall, tusikie wanaambiwa nini, you know? But we have targeted talks for different groups. We have a group of parents who have children with special needs. And we offer psychosocial support for them as well. Yeah? Because they also need to thrive, sindio? Yeah. When they come into the organization, mtu anapata mtoto, then they discover their child, yeah, is of special needs. Then they get depressed. Will you get your work done? No. So we have a forum for parents of children with special needs, and it's a vibrant wall. I mean, you go to that wall and you just see, I learn every day. And of course, we have the quarterly events with them. We sponsor events, whether it's T21, whether it's, whatever it is. Yeah? When people leave the organization, how do they leave? There are those regrettable losses. Na kuna wale wakiiba mnaambia haraka sana. But let's talk about regrettable losses. The good livers. Yeah? How do they live? Do they live with dignity, wanting to come back? And this is where we said that sense of belonging is key. Because even if someone gets up, because we always say that we train for Safaricom and develop for the world.
Yes.
Is it vice versa, Peter?
We are net exporters of talent.
We are net exporters of talent. Net exporters for talent. So we are not afraid when people come and they get bigger, broader roles. You saw Sanda Ojiambo. Yeah? You see the level she's at now. Yeah? So you see, so we are happy that we are able to actually develop our people to the point that they are being poached. For us, we are like fertile ground. Sindio? Yeah? Yeah. Because we are happy. You don't perhaps have a level that is a vice president or what. So if someone gets a job and it's vice president of exactly, you let them go, but you keep them warm, eh? Unajua vindu vichenjanga. Wanaweza kuja tupate hapo hata sisi tumeintroduce hiyo we have a president for something, yeah? So we have an alumni program that we launched last month, and this alumni program is for our regrettable losses, people who've left well, and we have conversations with them. We have drink ups with them. We invite them to come back to the business, and we have an evening of just engagement and chatting and exchanging ideas. And then we tell them, you have a return ticket whenever you wish to come back. Open visa, return ticket back home. So we just go to the pictorials. I'll go very fast. These are some of our rituals. When I talked about rituals, for you to conceptualize, up there is a gender engagement. You can see it's a panel. I think on one of our International Women's Day. We see number 3 is we were in London during the first Disability Summit, where we signed the Charter of Change. You can see number 1, it's an engagement with the Forum for Women. When you see pink, those colors. We have parents of children with special needs. You can see their forum there being addressed. I think there they were being addressed by one of people at the National Council. We have GDS, number 4, Global Disability Forum, where I told you we bring in different stakeholders to just come together to just unpack matters disability. You can see our Chief Human Resource Officer there with some government officials. There, Phoebe. Then you can see this one here is our cultural day. Guys dressed up. Family Day. This time round, what we did for Families Day, we actually got staff and their families to go and plant trees in Gom Forest. So it was a very interesting engagement where people came with their children and we took them we bought trees, and it's also mentoring the young ones to take care of the environment. So looking for activities that we can do as a family. Yeah. Before Corona, we had an engagement called Bring Your Child to Work. Yeah. Where we actually encourage parents to bring their children so that their children know where they are working and what they are doing, so that they are not depressed that you are out there working. And that is also building a pipeline and stickiness for the company. Because when they come, sometimes they used to come and sit on the CEO's chair, wanaambua zunguka, and they feel so nice when they take a picture with the CEO, you know? Yeah? And in the head of that child, this is where they want to be. So building that sense of belonging by extension. Shamaliza anasema Safaricom is the place to be. So these are, you can see me there with the Henry Wanyoike giving him a white cane. So we talked about a commitment that we did under Disability Charter for Change for distributing 20,000 white canes. We've so far distributed 5,000 across the country. We were slowed down by the MOH guidelines on accessing schools, and now we will begin. We have partnered with Kenya Union of the Blind, Kenya Society for the Blind, and Youth Kenya to distribute white canes to the visually impaired persons across the country. What we did, we noticed that data was a problem, and what we have done, and we said, it starts with you. Sindio, what can you do when data is not available? What do? We started an initiative where we said we are going to actually register the visually impaired persons in the country. So today, if you dial *678#, *678#, you can register a person with visual impairment so that we know where to target them with our interventions. Yeah? *678#. Yeah? So far, we've registered 73,000 people, and we are going strong. Yeah? So those are just some of the things that we've done.